everyone. Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. I just wanted like to thank my subscribers, and to non-subscribers, I really hope I tease you into pushing that button. I just completed my 38th year coaching football as a defensive coordinator, but over that time, I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I'd like to talk to you about in our 3-4, our match quarters, what we call gray 4, okay, versus Carolina. All right, I'm going to show it to you versus 11 personnel for a reason, as you'll learn. And this is out of our base concept. So right away, non-subscribers, push the button, and this will all make a lot more sense, okay? So over here are the key terms that I'm going to go through with you, and then I'm going to bring it to life over here, okay? Excuse me, so we can better understand how in our base match quarters, gray 4, how it is we defend Carolina. Okay? So over here, the first term is the surface. Always starts with the surface. And to us, the surface is the offensive line. Right? So tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle. When there's a tight end, the tight end's a part of the surface. Okay? So defenders on this side read their portion of the surface. Okay, I don't ask a corner, field corner in this case, to be reading the guard and tackle on the opposite side, right? Not reasonable. I don't even ask the backer in this case to do that. Okay, so they read their portion of the surface. But that tells them run, pass, even direction. Okay, so it's huge. The second key term here is what we call read number 2. And quote tells you what to do, right? Read number 2 tells you what to do. I realize there are programs that call it palms coverage and all this and that. I'll show you in the presentation why we call it gray 4. Okay, makes sense to us. So I would encourage you to name things that make sense to you. Okay, if you copy this lock, stock, and barrel, awesome, right? But if you call it something completely different, equally as awesome, because it's got to make sense to you as coaches, right? So read number 2 tells you what to do. In this case, number 2 is running what we call a slide route, which is 5 yards or less. Okay, 5 yards or less. And so what this is, number 3, it's the curl flat concept. So for us, Carolina is the curl flat concept. Okay, so how do we defend that? So number 4, when it's a detached outside linebacker, okay, he's going to expand balance, and then he's going to sink on the curl when he gets the curl call. All right, he's going to sink under it. Okay, so we'll show you how all that works. Whereas number 5, an attached outside linebacker means he's on the tight end. Okay, he's attached to the box. The only difference is he adds knockback, then expand balance, sink on the curl and the call. Okay? So the only difference is knockback. But that's why I'm showing this to you versus 11 personnel formation for that reason, so I can show you the 2 different techniques for the 2 outside linebackers. All right? So number 6, both the field corner and the boundary corner, per their rules of match quarter gray 4, they match, number 2 slide. And then we'll show you that. Okay, but that's the rule. So then number 7, the free safety and the whip, they're going to zone off, but then they're the ones who have to make that curl call. And then they're going to plant and drive on the curl. Okay, so what we're going to end up with is a high-low on the curl. To me, and I don't believe I'm alone, in the curl flat concept, by far and away the most difficult thing to do is cover the curl, especially when you're asking inside linebackers on play action like ISO, they're coming up and then hitting the curl behind them, right? Replace them where they used to be. That's just asking way too much. So in our match quarters system concept of its own, we don't ask them to do that. We let the safety and the outside linebacker, depending on the safety to make the call, alert the outside linebacker to high-low it. Okay? And then number 8, last but not least, the inside linebackers, what do we ask them to do? Well, first thing, they're going to pivot. Sees 2 not to them, pivot back, then it's running back 2 or mirror the cue. Running back 2 or mirror the cue. Ah! Having played inside linebacker, having coached it for 23 years, I still believe that they have the most to do in a 3-4 defense out of any of the positions. Okay, so we're trying to minimize what we're asked them to do when it comes to pass coverage. So let's now bring this all to life over here in the diagram. So first thing, let me illustrate what Carolina, we just call it Carolina, what the curl flat concept looks like. Okay, so number 2, again, is executing that slide route. It's usually 5 yards or less because they're trying to clear out the window for the curl, right? And the curl can vary, like 12 back to 10, 14 back to 12, all those different things. But there's the curl. So we'll say the top of the route is at 12, and he's coming back to the cue at 10. Okay? Over here, similar situation, top of the route at 12, coming back to the quarterback at 10. Okay? So now, how does it play out? We're going to start over here with the detached outside linebacker first. Okay? So let's just right now have the surface showing pass. Okay, I'm going to save the running back for last, like with the inside linebacker. So the surface is showing pass. Okay? So on the detached outside linebacker side, first of all, we're going to start with the corner. Quick sit step, walk pedal. Okay, he's going to get butt to boundary. He sees number 2 because his eyes are right there, right? So here's the gray 4. These 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, are reading number 2. And over here, these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 are reading number 2. Okay? It's not a split coverage. It's one coverage, but they operate independently of each other because I'm only drawing up Carolina on both sides to show you the technical difference for the outside linebacker, attached versus detached, right? Please remember that. So here he's going to walk pedal, and then he's going to match it. Right? He's got outside leverage, outside defender on an inside-out route. He's going to match it, right? Major collision there. Because 2's out, the safety is going to match the release, so he's going to zone off. His eyes go to number 1. He should see he doesn't have quite the same vertical push. He's going to read his hip sink, chop down. That's when he makes the curl call. Curl, 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 curl. And then he plants and drives, and he stays on the upfield shoulder. He's the high portion of the high-low relative to defending the curl. Here is where the outside linebacker comes in, right? Here, he's going to expand automatically. The surface shows pass. He expands. His eyes get to 1. 1's not coming into him immediately or just sitting there. So now his eyes go to the running back. If the running back is coming this way, he's going to plant and come up on the running back. That's why the sooner the free safety can make a curl call, the better. So let's say he makes that curl call. Now the outside linebacker turns and runs, turns his back. He's got to find the curl route here, number 1. And he works to undercut it. He's the under. So we don't have any trouble him turning his back, running, and he's got to identify, find number 1. Here he is. And then he undercuts it. So see, here's the low, there's the high. That's how we cover the curl flat route. Not expecting him to buzz all, right? That's asking way too much, in my opinion. Having been the guy that's tried to do that, that was really tough. Okay? So that's how it's defended there. Again, we'll come back to the inside linebacker. Over here, the only difference with snapping a football every time, the outside linebacker, in this case, the rover and the tight end, starts with knockback. He's in a 2-point stance. Tight end's got his hand down. I mean, this should be easy to get hands on it. So his world is the tight end. He's going to hear a pass call, so he's taught, move your feet, but as soon as you start to turn, you got to let him go. You're going to get called for holding. All right, so get the knockback. He then's got to expand. Okay, eyes to one. He sees one's vertical, so he's going to balance up because over here, same thing. Walk pedal, boundary corner is going to match it. Whip, zone off. Make that curl call soon as possible. Plant and drive. Stay in the upfield shoulder. So as soon as you make the curl call, okay, instead of bouncing up now and looking for something crosser because the back's over here, he's going to turn, find number one, and then undercut it, just as they do over here. So it's the same. The only difference is knockback. So up front, our two inside linebackers. Again, last but not least, okay? Two's not to them. So they go running back, okay, two, or mirror the cue. So we'll start with the mirror guy. Backs away from him. So he moves to a position where the quarterback, when he's looking downfield, should be looking at the linebacker. Now, if his eyes are looking over here, obviously it's not the case. We just say get directly across from the quarterback. He's spying the quarterback, but that's what's meant by the mirror. We want him to be directly in front of the quarterback. Okay? So now here, right, running backs to you, go get him. Go get him, baby. Okay? Especially in Carolina, because the outside linebacker is going to be underneath number one. You better go get him. Okay? So that's how we defend the curl flat concept. And that's what our inside linebacker's responsibility is. Okay? So as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, I thank you. Non-subscribers, I hope I tease you into pushing that button. To everybody, please reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com. Love to talk football with you. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank YouTube for providing this platform.